Now we will broadcast for you the news in English on Radio Free Syria.
Welcome to our news hour in English. I am MarwanKADRO and I will be with you during this news hour from Radio Free Syria. We will start with the headlines. Local coordination committees in Syria. With the end of Tuesday, the local coordination committees were able to confirm 237 martyrs, including 15 children and 10 women. 99 martyrs were reported in Aleppo, most of them due to the heavy shelling on the university. 65 in Homs, most of them in Al-Hula and Husayba. 31 in Damascus and its suburbs, 17 in Hama, 15 in Idlib, 15 in Daraa, 6 in Idlib, 2 in Deir ez-Zor, and 2 in Raqqa. The local coordination committees also documented 351 points that were targeted by shells across Syria, including 24 points that were shelled by warplanes, 5 points using cluster bombs, 1 point with barrel bombs, 138 points using mortar, 120 points with heavy caliber artillery, and 62 using rocket and missiles. The Free Syrian Army, however, clashed with the regime forces in 143 locations. After fierce clashes, the regime army withdrew from Ma'dan in Raqqa, which is now under control of the Free Syrian Army. The Free Syrian Army shelled new locations used by Shabiha agents near the western entrance of the town in Yadudiya. The Free Syrian Army encircled the checkpoint located on the intersection of the town and destroyed several regime vehicles. In Sbaina, in Damascus suburbs, the Free Syrian Army attacked the Sikka regime checkpoint. They also managed to successfully take over the customs administration headquarters in Deir Atiyah, where they seized ammunition. In Damascus, the Free Syrian Army targeted the regime's checkpoints located in Tubet Dummar. It was also reported that several soldiers defected from the regime army in Aleppo and Deir ez-Zor. Until now, 2 different stories are coming from Aleppo about the explosions at the university, which resulted in the death of 82 people, most of them students. The Syrian government said that 2 cars have exploded in front of the architecture college. However, students stated that it was no car explosions but heavy shelling from MiG airstrike forces on the university. These warplanes have dropped 2 missiles on the university and particularly on the architecture college, which resulted in more than 80 victims. The Syrian Human Rights said that most of the victims are students and people who have fled the violence in Aleppo city. After that, a massive demonstration at the university went on the streets of Aleppo, calling for Assad to step down. On the other side, Sana News Network, which is a governmental news bureau, said that 2 cars have exploded as they mentioned that it was a terror attack on the university. This heavy explosion also resulted in several people injured, according to the Syrian Human Rights. Meanwhile, several neighborhoods of Aleppo have been under heavy bombardment. Neighborhoods like Al-Huluk, Al-Masraniya, and Khan al-Asal. Activists added that the shelling is the heaviest one from the regime since the beginning of the battles in Aleppo. Moreover, in Aleppo city, heavy shelling from tanks on the neighborhood of Al-Haydariya, which resulted in 9 people killed. 3 of them are children. We will move now to Homs. Local coordination committees said that 65 people have been killed yesterday in Homs, most of them in the city of Al-Hula and Al-Husaybiyah, among them children and women. Heavy shelling on Al-Hula from 2 different military bases in the villages of Qarmas and Al-Hamayra. In the village of Al-Husaybiyah, the Assad forces have committed a massacre after they have entered the village. They have burned down the houses with the civilians in it after they have killed them with knives. Among them, there were children and women. Moving to the Damascus and its suburbs, heavy shelling with warplanes on the countryside of Damascus, as the cities of Al-Maliha and Mu'addamit al-Sham have been under heavy shelling. 3 missiles have been dropped on the city of Daraya after that heavy bombardment on the same city using MiG airstrike forces. In the city of Zamalka, there was also heavy bombardment using heavy artillery and tanks. Meanwhile, in the capital itself, heavy bombardments on the southern neighborhoods of Damascus, at particularly Al-Mayziyah, Jamiat al-Subayniyah, and Hajar al-Aswad. 2 more missiles have been dropped on the neighborhood of Al-Qadam. Meanwhile, the Free Syrian Army have attacked the 105th Brigade in the neighborhood of Dumar, which resulted in several injuries among Assad forces. Moving to Dar'a, soldiers of the Free Syrian Army have attacked a checkpoint as they have killed 3 soldiers of the Assad forces. However, the Assad forces have pulled an attack on the center of the city using all kinds of weapons as they have shelled the city randomly. In Laziqiyah, heavy shelling using rocket launchers on the village of Nahiyat Kansa and the village of Akko and Selma. Also heavy shelling on several villages in Laziqiyah countryside using heavy artillery from checkpoints that are located in the villages of Kharbat Solas, Marsad and Baruda. The United States questioned if the reports that are telling that the Assad forces are using chemical weapons. However, they said that Assad will make a big mistake if he uses chemical weapons. The White House was talking about a report that was published by their foreign policy, as the American government says that the regime might have used poison gas on an attack last month. Vitor added, the Assad regime will be accountable if they use chemical weapons against the people of Syria. According to the United Nations, more than 60,000 people have been killed since 22 months since the battles that have started in Syria and since the revolution that have started 22 months ago between the Assad forces and the rebels. Rebels are trying to end a 40-year rule of the Assad regime as they have started a big attack on the Assad forces in Syria since a year and a half. Before that, it was a peaceful revolution. This was it for today. Thank you very much for listening. I am MarwanKADRO from Radio Free Syria, along with me, Executive Manager Islam Al-Idilbi. Please follow us on freesyriaradio.webs.com. You can also reach us through Skype on Syrian342. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Right now, we will broadcast for you the news in English on Radio Free Syria.
مهما ليل الظالم